Some of you might be wondering how I can still be smiling even though I just pretty much lost my job today. The fact of the matter is, if you've been following along and you know what working the night gig entailed and how they treat the employees, then you're probably happy for me. Even though there is kind of a little bit of a scare here because I do have the child support hearing coming up here. I still have to go to court here to deal with the license suspension issue, which is like something that had occurred like what, almost half a year or more ago. So I'll have to explain to the judge why I left the job, and I don't think it's going to be too hard to explain. I wasn't getting paid, and I even have the stubs to show that. You know, I can't be expected to stay in a job that doesn't pay. But the other thing is, I've had some really interesting things happen. That neighbor's dog is driving me nuts. Basically, I struggled with the idea of what would happen this weekend when they didn't get back in touch with me to fix the payment issue, and what was going to happen today. And I was getting kind of a little bit scared. But I had something happen that was very interesting this morning. I woke up, you know, feeling a little bit anxious because being in the process of losing a job, even though it's a crappy job, it was still kind of making payments, you know, towards the rent for Walter's house and child support. To make a decision to leave, even though they have asked me to stay, I know they would probably fix my pay situation, but I just can't trust them. You know, they did it in the past. The last year, they did it 3 times since I've come back, and I can only see it continuing. So I made a decision to leave, and part of it was because of something interesting this morning. What happened was I woke up kind of freaking out. You know, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen if they don't fix the money situation and I end up losing this job? And I don't know if you know, the air conditioning system hasn't been working in Walter's house. It had died. I thought I had fixed it, but they didn't really fix it, and it died. So the AC's been dead. And I ended up installing some ceiling fans to kind of keep things cool, you know, at least let the air circulate. And even though up north some of you might still be cold, Florida's been like experiencing like a heat wave over the last couple days. Probably the past 3 days, it's been really hot. Like today, it's in the 80s, and inside the house it was over 81, 82 degrees. But what happened was I woke up, and it was dark in the room because it was still kind of night. You know, it was like the middle of the night, like about 2 or 3 a.m. And the fan was going. So it was dark and the fan was blowing. And I got scared, and I was like, what am I going to do? I'm scared. I'm not sure what to do. And I stuck my head underneath the covers. So I put the covers over my head because, you know, I was freaking out. And then suddenly the light came on. I mean, literally. The light in the room magically came on all by itself. The fan, you know, that I installed in the ceiling is one of those fans with the light on it. So I don't know if it was a loose connection or whatever, but when I went to bed last night, I could swear I turned the light off, but I left the fan on so it would circulate the air. So the light was off. It was like, you know, pitch black. It was dark inside the room. And yet this morning when I woke up, I didn't just wake up. I mean, I woke up kind of freaking out because I was like, oh, this is a really bad situation to be in. You know, what am I going to do? And kind of hid myself underneath the blanket to try to calm myself down, you know, like a little cocoon. But the light came on inside, you know, while I was underneath the blanket, and I stuck my head on. I was like, who turned the light on? Well, there was no one who turned the light on because the light was on because the fan was still going. So somehow the light magically turned itself on, which to me was kind of a good sign. I was like, you know, if you followed my presumed guilty story, then you know about the light, you know, the importance of the light and what the light signifies. So for the light to suddenly come on in a moment of darkness where I was actually huddling myself into a cocoon was a sign for me, something very important and significant. And even as I make this recording to you right now, something else has come on. And let me show it to you. It basically is the air conditioning unit. My wife has a Bible study coming, here. Her group is going to come here to do a Bible study at Walter's house very shortly. And sure enough, the fan, now we know that the outside unit works, but the inside unit magically came, it didn't just magically come on. I decided to turn it on. I tried to air out the house by opening all the windows and turning on all the fans and opening all the doors to try to get things to circulate. But then on a whim, I decided to go ahead and turn the air conditioning unit on, and sure enough, the inside blower came on, which is where the issue had been. Now, I don't know how much longer it's going to work, because this is what the AC unit was like when, I came here. It's been almost 6 months when Walter let me move in. The AC seemed like it was working, but it would kind of intermittently go off, which it might do again. So I don't know if it's totally fixed or if it's just a temporary thing, but for whatever reason, the fan is blowing out here. The fan inside, the blower is blowing, so the house has air conditioning. And I'm going to take that as another sign that everything is going exactly as it should be, even though right now I am once again in a precarious situation where I need to get a job. So I've been looking for work all day, and am continuing tonight. I'm looking to get back into my photography, to do some more photography work, but really looking for a more stable income, more of a permanent type employment situation where I won't be in a vicarious situation that I've still been in. Now, when I was doing the knife gig, I was continuing to search, but I guess the timeline, the deadline to actually get a real job, not something that, where they can just screw me over easily like what you guys just witnessed. The timeline just got moved up. But I have every confidence and faith that God is in charge and that everything is happening exactly as it should be. So I appreciate those of you who continue to pray for me and send well wishes and kind thoughts, because that's needed. Thank you.